Well, it's time for us to take a look at your health. And joining me this morning is Dr. Dindi, who is, well, no stranger to many of us. Welcome and good to have you.
Thank you.
And you can check out also at Dr. Fitness Kenya. That's on Instagram, and on Twitter, she is Dr. Fitness KE. So this is what you do. And just to make it clear, because I've had people ask me previously, is she actually a doctor, or are you just a doctor of fitness? You know, like I can be a doctor of media.
Or nails.
Of sorts, or of nails, doctor of nails. And for Zinzi, I'm not quite sure what should be a doctor of. Maybe food? Possibly. So, yeah,
Okay.
doctor, or are you just a doctor in terms of you love fitness?
I get that question often, but thank you so much for having me here, Michael. I am a medical doctor, actually, so MBCHB from the University
But you
of
don't
Moy.
say, you only mention. At which university?
Moy University and Masters of Medicine from the University of
But you don't say. So this is
I'm
a medical doctor.
Yes, I'm a medical doctor.
Okay.
Yeah, but I have a lot of passion in fitness. But of course, besides that, I am a wife. I am a mother of 3 children. And I love fitness, and I love to inspire other people to get moving more and be mindful of what
Actually,
they
there's
eat.
somebody I met not too long ago, and your Twitter, your Instagram handle was there, and she was like, man, this lady is living the life. You know, given that you're a doctor, you're fit, you have children, as in literally. But, of course, Christmas is round the corner.
Oh, yes.
And like I mentioned earlier, on 12th of December, for many, is the time that literally you let your belts out and say, you know what, let your hair down. It's party time. Between now and January, when we'll now begin again the New Year's resolutions, it's time for us to party. But, of course, many of us do that, but come January, we are hit with a lot of guilt, and not just guilt. A very unhealthy lifestyle for 2 weeks can literally be very damaging for the rest of our lives.
Sure.
Maybe let's start from there so that we just paint a picture and put it to perspective what damage we can do if we're not careful over the holidays.
Okay, so the festive season is here. Of course, happy Jamhuri Day, Kenyans. And it, like you said, just starts today. And the biggest issue with Kenyans is that we love to party. And that means lots of food, very little movement, lots of drinks, and that includes alcoholic and non-alcoholic. And this does not only happen in Kenya. Out there, still people overdo partying and all that. Oh, yeah. But therein begins the problem, because January is coming and there'll be lots of resolutions, and there are people perennially for the last 20 years, they have New Year resolutions to lose weight. And the problem is during the festive season, every festive season, they gain 2 kgs, 3 kgs, 5 kgs. This is just to say that it's very possible. And it happens with, you know, that extra ice cream at the end of the meals every day. It kind of just adds up. And it's to say that not that we should not party, but we have to be very smart on how we do it.
Yeah, and we'll come to the smartness of it, because really, I think psychologically, we find that because of the party atmosphere and mood, we kind of let our guard down. Even for those who've maybe been trying to live and eat healthy, this becomes a time where you literally say, you know, I will enjoy myself. So do we have to eat to enjoy?
I think I would say, first of all, eating by day is cultural. It's meant to be enjoyable. Personally, I believe that food should not only just give us energy and nutrients, but should also give us some pleasure. So, I mean, and that's how it matters, how you cook your food, how it smells, how it tastes. That really adds on to the presentation. That really determines how much you're going to enjoy it. And those simple things on how you just put the food together can determine how much one is going to enjoy it. And that does not mean that you should go overboard. And overboard, this means frequent eating, like from the moment you wake up to the time you sleep, like every 30 minutes you're nibbling on something, or you know, you're from one meal to another. And there are simple ways in which one can ensure that they're not overdoing it. The truth be told, this is a time that you're likely to eat things that you do not, you know, ordinarily eat frequently. But the thing is that you still have to mind the portions. And there are smart ways in which, like, you know, there are those people when you know, you've invited them to your place, they're coming, you're having a bash with them, and they just hang around the dining table where all the food is displayed. And that becomes
all the desserts are.
and you know, as you chat, you just keep picking something.
Because you see, that's the thing. I mean, one of the things that happens is that you might not be consciously out to overeat, but you'll find because of the many social engagements that come about, we have end-of-year parties, we have some maybe celebrating their birthdays, we have Christmas coming. Just by that social environment, I may not be hungry, but there's food here, and naturally, if we are having a conversation and there's food here, even if I'm not hungry, the thing to do is nibble.
And and that's true. But there are some small ways in which you can help yourself avoid overdoing. The nibbling becomes now feasting, you know.
Right.
So, and that could be like before you leave your house, have a small snack that's healthy, that fills you, maybe with some protein, maybe a small drumstick or a piece of chicken breast, or have some salad, or even some wholemeal bread, a toast, or something like that. So by the time you're going to that party, you're not feeling famished, so you're not just ugly and everything, you know. So the thing is that sometimes by just having a small meal that you're in control of, that is healthy, it's going to help you not consume more. The other thing is the pace at which you eat. So when you visit, you're not just, you know, just
throwing
eating
them
slowly
down your throat,
and then just chewing down slowly as you chat, and that actually helps you socialize more, you know, just getting to know. I mean, you've not seen this person for like 12 months or something like that. Get to know them more, what they've been doing, what milestones they've achieved in the course of the year. As you do that, time is still going, you're eating slowly, and you have a more meaningful relationship. You enjoy the party more. It was not just about food. Food is just part of it, but you're actually building relationship. You're being interested in the other person is getting interested in you. As you build conversations, when the mouth is busy speaking, then you're not going to be less busy eating. So those are just some of the simple ways that you can actually be smart, not to offend people. I mean, they've put up a buffet for you.
You can't go there and tell them, I'm on water only.
It's not the time to fast, you know.
Exactly.
Yeah, and that really goes a long way. The other thing is, like, in most places, they'll have maybe gotten caterers and there's a buffet. What I personally do, and I advise many people to do, is just walk through and get to see what's in the buffet before you start serving, you know. Just be smart and, you know, look around and get to see what's there. So you don't heap your plate on the wrong things. Then you discover, they're nice veggies.
Yeah, you know. There I should have wanted to take.
So you start with the veggies, have a bit of protein. Then now later you can have a little bit of dessert or something like, but fill in with the nice things. Be smart with what you pick. So just get to know what's available and then make the best choices within the circumstances.
Okay. Now let's have practical advice on what to serve, because we can almost predict some of the things that are normally there. You'll have chapati, you're going to have rice, you're going to have nyama choma, you're going to have chicken, there's beef, in some instances you're going to have fish. Now, in terms of what I actually put on my plate, what is it that I should be concentrating on? Because I don't want to be unhealthy, but at the same time, I don't want to pack my nini with skumas and nothing else. Yet there's some
That's not
nice
even
nyama
healthy.
choma. Exactly. So what should I have on my plate?
Okay, one thing, like, I love nyama choma, but I just don't do it frequently. And so it's during this season that we have quite a bit of it. The thing is that just take a small piece, maybe the size of your palm, or two pieces, like for a gentleman, that would be a good thing. And I know most people will love the fatty cuts, and you know, for nyama choma, for it to be tasty, it tends to be extra fatty. So you need to go for a smaller piece of that, and maybe, so you have a bit of that, have some veggies, and then some few pieces of chapati. I mean, chapati defines our Christmas season. You know, growing up, we used to have chapatis every weekend. I'm very good at making chapatis, and I'm not bragging.
Oh,
you know?
Wow. Next time you're coming on set, you must bring us chapatis, and that's an order.
Well, yeah. I'll invoice you. Anyway, so the thing is that, of course, the thing, why do we eat so much? When growing up, you know, chapati used to happen over the weekends, at least at my home. And of course, now Christmas, it was like 10 days of chapati. You're flooded until now you're like, this is too much. And you would eat until, you know, you feel sick, your tummy is so distended. Now most of the people I know following this are grown-ups. So we don't have to behave like this, no tomorrow. We should eat like we know we can afford to have the chapati even beyond today. So why are you eating 4 of them? You know, so there's that thing of still disciplining yourself, observing some restraint that still you can have your chapati, you have your nyama choma, you have your vegetables, but moderate, because they still be tomorrow. You can afford to have this. So it's not like when you were kids, you're thinking, hey, I don't know when I'll see this next time. You eat. So the thing, don't deprive yourself, but just sample it, a bit. And after you've had the full meal, you've had your meats, you've had your vegetables, you've had your carbohydrates. Now there's the desserts, there's the ice cream, there's the cakes, there's the chocolate and all that. When you're full, you're less likely to eat so much of it. So in that case, like what I would recommend is like maybe have a cup of ice cream and share like 3 of you instead of, or, scoop, and you don't have to clear everything, that is in that serving. So it's just good to control yourself. Don't go, especially on the things that have a lot of cream, have a lot of sugar, particularly the desserts. Don't go overboard.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's also the question of fruits. And traditionally, as I was growing up, I knew that we had fruits as a form of dessert after the meal. But that seems to have changed. And I have an uncle, he's called Boro, in case he's watching. He insists that fruits must be had before the meal. So, when people gather and, you're waiting for the quorum, for the official program of the party to begin, he insists that's the time that now fruits should be doing their rounds so that they literally hit your stomach while you're hungry and you get the nutritional value. True or false? We shall call it the Uncle Boro myth.
He's a nice guy. Uncle Boro is okay, but not necessarily. Actually, when you eat your fruits early before the rest of the meal, what happens is that, especially for diabetic, it's going to spike your sugars, because fruit is very easy to digest. It's okay, you're going to get the vitamins, you're going to get a spike of energy. And actually what that does is that it's likely to make you want to eat more. That's why it's perceived as an appetite stimulant, because, with that sugar spike, what happens is that there's a tendency to have a dip afterwards, and now you get more hungry, so you want to eat more. So as far as I'm concerned, and actually when looking at it physiologically, there's no extra benefit in having it, the fruit, before or after the meal.
Even the nutritional value, they imagine, for me, I imagine if I eat all this other food, the chapatis, the nyama choma, the ugali, the chicken, they all go and fill the stomach. Then by the time I'm bringing the fruits, ziko huku juu. Kwa hivyo nutrition, hakuna nutrition zinanipatia. Is that...
some people get bloated, I think, because... if you eat the fruits afterwards. But actually, for me, fruit is what should be the natural dessert. It's the sweet thing that you should have at the tail end, because you should not eat lots of them at a go. Because the truth of the matter is that fruits have sugar, and so they should be your dessert. Personally, I don't eat the cakes, I don't eat the ice creams, I don't even at the end of the day, even at a party. So I'll have the fruit. That's my kind of dessert.
You don't eat the cakes and ice creams at all?
Hardly ever.
When I grow up, hashtag goals. We'll come to the desserts and all that in terms of the cakes, but still on the fruits. The nutritional value, you say there's no difference between when you have them before or after.
Yeah.
Okay, it doesn't make a difference.
There's a lot of dogma around that, but it doesn't make a difference.
Then you've also mentioned the sugar in the fruits.
Yes.
I imagine that the sugar in the fruits is good sugar.
It is good sugar.
Okay.
Okay,
so
there are a number of things.
Should I be worried about it?
You should be worried about portions, just like anything else, the way you'd be worried about your sweet potatoes, or your maize and all that. So the thing is that so long as you're eating your fruit whole, as in you're not juicing it, you're eating, of course you peel it, Yeah, but eat whole, don't juice and remove the fiber. That's okay, but not too much of it. So it should be just a small
What's
serving.
Wrong with juicing is if I'm doing it, with a juicer that will give me all that, the fiber and all that.
If it's all that, that's fine. That's fine, because actually that's more of a smoothie, because you have it together with the fiber. That's fine. But juicing where you get rid of the fiber, that's a problem, because you actually concentrate the sugar and end up eating too much more than you'd ordinarily eat. Yeah. I like to remind people, like, to get a small glass of concentrated orange juice, you'd need like 4 oranges or more, and that's just in one small glass. But if you're to eat the 4 oranges, you'd be full for so much longer. True. So by juicing, you tend to overeat without really. Yeah.
So you'd rather have it raw as much as possible.
Yes.
Then comes in the question of, fine, we've juiced the fruits and all that, but sometimes we want to add a little bit of sugar to give it taste. You've mentioned orange juice.
There really is a problem.
Most of the time, you'll find that the orange juice might have a little bit, it might be a little bit sour, so we might want to add sugar.
When it comes to sugar, I would say that if you can't burn it, don't consume it. So the thing is that there's nothing, okay, it's not really wrong to have sugar added into your fruit, but it's going to slow your goals. It's going to increase your risk for diabetes, especially if you do that frequently, long term. And if you're not active, you don't need that energy. You know, our nutrition, our diet for the ordinary people who are just, you know, getting through, you have a job and that kind of thing, is very different from athletes. Athletes burn lots of calories, thousands of them in a day, and they need that sugar. Actually, energy drinks have some sugar in them and some what we call electrolytes. So when they are working out, they don't, you know, they don't get some other complications. But we are consuming this and we are not as active. So adding sugar is not really good for people who are not extra active. For kids, it's okay.
It's fine. They'll burn the sugar.
Yeah, but if you can burn it, that's okay.
Okay. Yeah. Then there's also the question of sugar, as we know it, and honey. So should I have this drink and I want to put in a cup of, not a cup, a spoon of honey. First of all, I'm told it's very good for my voice. Then secondly, it is natural. I mean, it is from the flowers. So your thoughts on that? Is that myth?
The table sugar is from sugarcane, which is also natural. And
but you see that one is processed.
The thing is that the difference between sugar and honey are the same thing. It's just that honey is a mixture of two things. That is glucose and fructose, while sugar, the table sugar per se, is actually a combination of what in chemistry we would call a compound of still fructose and glucose. So there's no difference between the two. So one tastes sweeter because the fructose is free flowing there, you know. So the thing is that I tell people, if you must have one as a sweetener, just pick whichever flavor you like. But there's nothing more healthier between one or the other. In fact, in terms of health benefits that people talk about from honey, it's in wound dressing, not for consumption, but placing on wounds, because there's some chemicals that are released and it helps in wound healing and blah blah blah. So the thing is that it can help when you put it in dawa if you have a cold, but it has calories just like sugar, and there's hardly any much benefit.
So are you telling me that whether I take table sugar or I take honey, there is absolutely no difference?
There's no difference, and in fact sometimes you might save a little bit because honey is more expensive.
Wow. Yeah. Okay, let's now come to the sweet desserts, because that's where many of us may be, especially those of us with a sweet tooth, completely lose it when it comes to these festivities. How do I control that? Because at the end of the day, first of all, just like you mentioned, some of these things are designed for you to begin mouth-watering just from the sight. I mean, most of the cakes, literally, the minute you see it,
they're calling your name.
It's calling you. It's like, eat me now. I dare you. I double dare you. And of course, I'm like, man, I go down with a dare. With its cake, I will take on the dare. So how do I control that?
Okay. The interesting thing is that the more you eat the desserts, because they're sugar, they're really tasty. The thing is that as much as people say they have sweet tooth, we don't have bitter teeth, you know, the rest of us. So it's actually an issue of training. I personally used to love sweet things. I don't dislike them at the moment. I've just retrained myself. So the thing is that you have to train yourself to have less of it. Like if you've been doing 3 cups of ice cream, you can say, no, today I'll just do 1. You can just reduce gradually, and you actually train yourself. Because what happens, the more you indulge your cravings, the more you crave. So if you eat the ice cream, you're likely to want more, you're likely to want the cake, because it's just that sugar. It's a cycle. It's just like people who drink alcohol. At first, they would have 1 beer, they are drunk, and then with time, they need more. So actually in the brain, there are those happy chemicals that get released. So with time, you need some extra sugar for that trigger to be released. So it becomes a vicious cycle. So the best thing is actually to start cutting down on it. And if you can avoid it and make it once in a while, then it gives you control. I can have ice cream once a week or once every 2 weeks. It actually empowers you more. And the other thing, like I said, be full first. Eat the more healthy kind of regular food before you go to the dessert. That way you'll have less room for it. And then keep thinking, why is it important? Do you want to control your weight? Are you thinking about your health? Be beyond weight, you're thinking we don't want to clog our blood vessels, our arteries, and start getting heart attacks and getting stroke. It's more than just the outward look. It's about health. The more you consume these things, your cholesterol is building up, you're clogging those blood, you're blocking your pipes, and before you know it, you have problem. And that won't happen with one scoop of ice cream. No, that won't happen with one small piece of cake. But the more you make it a habit, it's the issue. I love to help people actually just tweak their habits and make them better day by day. And the other thing is, I think we forget, it's just, you're going out, it's a bash. We can be creative, like as we create these parties around this season, we should have settings where we can also be active. Maybe play music, get people dancing. So come on, wear your dancing shoes, or walk around in sports shoes that will make you walk more. If you're more conscious, this is a time to wear your Fitbit. Not to see how many calories you're burning, but how many steps are you taking? If you can hit 10,000, at least you're like, I might have overdone the eating, but at least I'm still being active. Because generally, most people will miss the mark when it comes to the nutrition. But being active, this is Dr. Fitness speaking, so I'd like just keep moving, moving. Yeah, your gym might be closed, but go hiking. You say, we are going to have lunch at this time. So let's all as a family take a walk. Just do a walk. It doesn't have to be really rigorous, but just remaining conscious, keeping on moving or dancing. It's going to be fun.
Okay. One thing that I find affects our health or our weight gain or weight loss or health gain, whatever you want to call it, is just our mental state. Because majority of these solutions that you're giving really start here. If I determine in my mind that I want to remain healthy and that piece of cake is what is coming between me and the goals, then that cake can be removed, or I can make sure that that portion is eliminated. Talk to us of the importance of our mental state in terms of now how we view food. Some of us view food as what would I call it? A remedy or something, a happy place. Yeah, it's just something, it's a happy place. But if we change that perspective to a point where instead of having that cake this big, which have been served, I can cut it to a small piece and still enjoy the connection between the two.
Yeah, it's very, very important because actually what the mind conceives, the body achieves.
Correct.
So first of all, like even for people who get overwhelmed, they're thinking, okay, I need to lose weight or I need to control my medical conditions and all that, is they get overwhelmed. But by just knowing that it's doable, it just begins the journey. Like it's just important to remember that you got this, you can do this, you are able to control yourself. We should not let food control us like animals, like we have no brains. So the thing is that if I am someone who is smart, I can say no beyond this limit. That is very important. There's one client of mine, someone who is very close to me, was diagnosed with diabetes, put on treatment, and we had a conversation and actually adjusted her diet. Right now, she was like on the maximum doses of all the oral, diabetic drugs. She's actually on no medication. This with supervision from her doctor, not even me. And she has a glucometer. She checks her sugar every so often.
This is purely down to the diet.
Yes. And what she told me is that for the longest time, I didn't think I could do without these sugary things. I didn't think I could eat these whole grain things and limit my portions. But now she feels so empowered that she's been able to control her conditions by mastering her diet, so that she knows if you understand the why, then you're going to do things differently. For her, she knows it's about my health. If I don't do this, my diabetes is going to progress. Before I know it, I might have kidney complications. I might have diabetic foot. You have those ulcers that are not healing. She has understood that, and she's been so motivational that she's been being used in her clinic to actually educate other patients. So if you know your why, you don't have to end up diabetic. You don't have to end up hypertensive. But by just changing things, you can delay yourself from ever ending up there, even when you have strong family risk of the same. So the thing is that if you understand, okay, I don't want to have New Year resolutions every time. I want to have a flat belly. I want to lose weight. So this is the time to make that difference. This is the time to avoid having to have that resolution. And because it's accumulative, you make some slight changes, maybe even end up not gaining weight, not even losing. If in this season you end up not gaining as you usually do, then that's a big achievement. It's a big high five. So the thing is just working on knowing, okay, if I eat all these, then it's going to pile somewhere. So let me just go for a small thing. And it's empowering. I love seeing people saying, wow, I am in control. The cake was there, and I was like, You can sit there. I'm not going to have it. But don't tempt yourself.
If I don't
keep things away. Keep the drinks away. You know it's going to be a temptation. But master the will of knowing I can do this, I have got this, I can actually control myself. That is very empowering.
Now, before we wind up, and we're just about to do that, there is a new weight loss system, shall I call it, that is called intermittent fasting. And this might come into play, especially during this time, because if I know, for instance, I have a party to attend tomorrow, I could decide for the next 18 hours. I think it's spaced out. You do either 12 hours or 18 or whatever. 16 years. So I could decide, let me for the next 18 hours fast because the bash is coming. Your advice on that?
If you have the will, it's okay. Let me tell you, when it comes to managing your weight or just managing your energy intake, it boils down to how much you're taking in and how much you're spending. So if you can actually master the will to go for that period of time, maybe the 16 hours without a meal and eat within that 8-hour window period or that time when the bash comes, that's okay. The only problem is that I've interacted with people who say they're doing intermittent fasting, but what they've actually done is only shifting their meal time so that you used to consume 2,500 calories within, let's say the 12-hour eating period that you would have initially. Now you've pushed that 2,500 calories to the
1 meal.
Yeah. So the thing is that it's not going to make a difference. But if it makes you just eat that one meal within, that prolonged duration, and overall you're consuming less, it's going to be strategic. So if that works for you, fantastic.
All right, and I want to rope in Zinzi here because I'm sure she's dying to go. And Zinzi, you have to plan your meals. You have to make sure that extra piece of cake is not taken, that samosa. Yeah, so it looks like we've spoiled your party.
No. Let me tell you something.
You should put on your helmet.
During the interview,
she's standing behind me.
Michael was saying that cake talks to him. I'm saying to worry about your psychological needs, Michael. Cake is
but for real, does it talk to all of us?
I can hook him up with a shrink.
I will. And let me tell you something, Doctor. You broke his heart when you told him that sugar and honey, there's really not much difference in your tea, because I take mine with sugar. He always insists in the morning you should have his with honey because he's being healthy.
I think it's just to ensure that the two products are selling. So, sugar.
No, but that story of honey and sugar, I am yet to Google Dr. Google. It's going to help me out here because I still...
But the flavor is okay. So if you prefer honey, that's fine.
For me, it's not even preference. It's just that I have this thing in my head that tells me honey is healthy.
Oh, goodness.
So to hear that the two of them are the same,
that's in the mind.
I need a paradigm shift.
The other thing that really stood out for me in your conversation is, of course, having the mental will, but also because I used to be a victim of this. Don't just go straight into a buffet. Just go around it and look at it, everything. Yeah, so you can be wise with your decisions.
It makes a lot of difference.
It's called being visionary. There's some people who don't have a vision, so they start serving here. By the time they get to the end, they're like, what happened? But if you have a vision, you know what's at the end. Strategy, exactly. So eating has also got to have strategy. But the show also has strategy, and that means we have a time limit where we have to wind up. Dr. Dindi, thank you so much. Always a pleasure. And I can guarantee you, come January, there are those who are saying, whatever you guys are saying is... Come January, I'm going to hit the gym. So we'll need you back in January, basically just to give us tips on how to ensure that we lose and make sure that we maintain that weight. But thank you so much for joining us this morning. From me, my name is Michael Gitonga. I wish you all a fantastic, wonderful Jamhuri Day.
And my name is Zinzi Kipiku. See you tomorrow morning, same time, same place. God bless you.